guys, it's Joshy here, and I am back with another worst to best shiny video. Now, just a couple of things to get into before we start. First off, I did make a mistake in last video. I was pointed out to me in the comments. I accidentally showed the same sprite of Emolga twice in a row instead of showing, I believe I missed black and white sprite. Now, I would go back and do a big fuss on that, but the problem is Emolga is quite a close one, so I just wanted to make sure it's stated here so you guys get that. Now, a couple little things otherwise than that to get into just before we start this. Number one, all of these images are taken off Cerebi through the Pokédex. They are still images which I am using, not animated sprites. Two, these are my opinions only. This is how I base it. Now, if you want to give your opinion, 100% do down in the comments. Like, everyone's going to have different opinions. If you actually agree 100% with what I say, comment it. But any other opinions, put it down the bottom and let's start a discussion. And finally, if there is a Pokemon you'd like to see me include in some of these coming soon, which I'm going to give my best to get on top of it all ASAP and do more, then again, the comment section. But anyway, let's get the ball rolling. We're going to start with Beedrill today, a bug Pokemon, well, bug and poison, we have had since Gen 1. Now, I generally think sometimes Beedrill's look is a little underrated and does really look cool, and so does some of its shinies, I can tell you. But we're going to start with the worst, which here is Crystal. Now, Gen 2's shiny of Beedrill was really boring. As you can see, it's just kind of grayscaled almost, not quite, but just feels like that. It really, the original has color and life, and this just kind of seems like it should be in red or blue. And that was disappointing to me because I know that this generation does have some more colors that it really played with, as we've seen in other Pokemon, and then Beedrill kind of fell flat. Also, Crystal, out of all of Gen 2, had the darkest original sprite, and because it was the darkest, it made, in my opinion, a smaller gap in difference, if that makes sense, from the original to the shiny. Next, we're stepping up and we're actually going to Emerald. We're stepping out of Gen 2 and into Gen 3. Now, as you can see here, my opinion is based more on the sprite. It is a nicer color. It is stepping up towards its best color. But is it? I don't know. It's covering half itself. I don't know if it needs to pee, if it's shy, if it's hiding something down there. Who knows? But no. Just no. As you can see, we can see the blue eyes, the greener color, but I just don't know what's going on. Anyway, we're stepping up again. We're going back to Gen 2. Now we're looking at Gold. Now, Gold had a cooler pose. Sorry. Well, obviously it does. Everything has a cooler pose than Emerald. But the reason it did beat Crystal and obviously Emerald is because it itself has that lighter original, which then allowed us to see that difference a little bit better than we saw in Crystal. We're going to go from there, jump up again to Silver. Very, very minimal difference. The reason I think this one is the best Gen 2 is it's got a very nice position, really. We really get to see those wings beautifully, both of them. We get to see both hands with both legs, the whole body. By seeing the whole lot, the difference really shines out, and it's a really cool sprite. To me, seeing this Beedrill, it's out of the lot, it's just feels ready to battle. Next, we are jumping up to Ruby and Sapphire. These colors, like the normal, are nice, but in this generation I still find the shinies a little bit meh. Now we're getting that nicer difference from the green in that, but it's a very yellowy green, if that makes sense. Like it's not really different in terms of really pushing the green far enough away. And I feel like that although this is a nicer color, it's almost the same as the original, where the original went for a dark grey blue with a tinge of green, which was boring. This kind of went greener, but it's still sitting a little close. Now, you wouldn't mistake this or any of these Beedrill for a normal, which is a nice sign when you get a shiny in general, but this is kind of just like meh, and the position's very meh to me. He's kind of just standing there like, okay, what do I do next? And yeah, that to me just, Anyway, let's move on. We are looking at Fire Red and Leaf Green. This is very similar to the last one. The only opinion to me that makes a big difference here is the bottom of his abdomen is just pointing forward. That's it. And the reason I think that's better is because it's just kind of like a little bit more attitude to it. Now, Beedrill without a lot of facial features makes it really hard to make a lot of the face say things, but its body position can, and this tiny difference to me makes it that tiny bit better. After Fire Red and Leaf Green, we are going all the way to XY Sun and Moon. Now, I really do like this one in terms of the fact now we are going to start seeing this beautiful green and blue-eyed colour. I just found this gen seemed a little pixely or washed for some reason, probably because we were really starting to have our animation and continuous movement from 3D, but it was just, to me, that just lost between some of those black and green lines. They seemed to the green faded away more than it should, and that just left it a little bit, but to me, from here on, the shinies are lovely. Now we're going to go to Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Now this is cool in my opinion. This is where this green is so bright. We get to see the eyes, that body kind of side on, we're seeing the wings, but having that little bit of an offensive or ready to be offensive pose makes it nice, and you've got to admit that is a beautiful green. Now if you don't like green, this may not be your thing, but it's really shines, and you know how shiny this is. It's not just like, you know, slight shift, it's really standing out. On to our second best, we are looking at Black, White, Diamond Pearl and Platinum. The exact same things to me with Heart Gold, Soul Silver in terms of shiny, the difference from the original and everything. They are nice, strong original yellows to that beautiful, strong green. But again, the position's a little bit better. I feel like it just seems like it's in that real like jousting moment. It's got, you know, ready to cover most of its angles and defend with offense. Is that what I get the feeling from this one? And that I really like. And finally, we are to our best shiny Beedrill, and to me, that is our Mega Beedrill. This was something, as soon as it was revealed and I saw what the shiny had to look like, or I knew what it had pretty much looked like, I had to track it down. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Beedrill's Mega, even original, looks gorgeous. These eye movement to extend it, the antenna, the shoulders, all just everything, the wings, it just feels great. And that stinger, the legs, like it's so ready to go. But the shiny, that blue eyes with that beautiful green and that new design to the body without kind of losing everything it held originally, just made me fall in love with this one. And this is probably up there with some of my favorite shinies, especially the Mega. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a shiny Beedrill nonetheless, and I hope to see him come back in I'm a gen behind, Sword and Shield. But either way, it's just the Mega to me just held the top position, just clearly. After Beedrill, we're moving on to a much more newer Pokemon, Cryogenol. Now, Cryogenol did come in black and white, and being not in the new games, well, at least not yet, we may see him in an Icy Tundra, but Cryogenol kind of, to me, it's only got two, so we'll look at its worst first anyway. So worst is XY Sun and Moon. Now, really, this seems kind of disappointing, and you'll see the newer one, and you'll see the older one next, obviously. You'll see the difference, and it made it worse to me. The original is a lot brighter and seems to reflect more, meaning the shiny, which is kind of a more fluorescent blue, I guess, especially in the dark parts, and stood out, seemed to be really close. Now we have obviously the golden eyes behind there, and then those teardrops, which are also golden, but they're so small in this generation, it almost felt lost. And there's sometimes they don't seem that cool, so that was kind of disappointing. And then on to our best, which is Black and White, our original. Now, as you can see here, the original is darker, and I really do miss the darkness, but the shiny, although a little bit darker than the newer shiny, it still has a larger difference between the two, and the teardrops are much more solid and stand out. That being one of the biggest differences, the eyes and teardrops, they don't seem washed or faded into Cryogenol, but yet a standout feature which set this shiny apart from the original. And that is the big difference between these two, and it's really disappointing when we lose a standout point of a shiny like we have here when we move forward to the newer ones. Moving from there, we are going to our grass flying type from Gen 2, Skiploon. Now, I like this Pokemon. I think it's cute, and I actually really want this guy to come back because I really want to muck around with some Skiploon sets. But we're not here for that. We're here for shinies. So anyway, Skiploon's worst one here is XY Sun and Moon. The sprite and its Pokemon itself, this is honestly, okay, the second least cute Skiploon. We'll get to the worst. But in terms of shiny, it's shadowing from the flowers not much. The flower is really tucked on the top of its head, and then the body of Skiploon just is like, one pink, don't worry about much shadowing, which I understand there's not a heap, but it just seemed lost. And even where there should be some shadowing, like more on the legs and that, the difference isn't there. We don't get that feel, and it just almost seems like lost. It really does, in my opinion. Anyway, stepping up to the next one, we are looking at Emerald, and here is the ugliest sprite of Skiploon. It really doesn't have this cute factor, and to me, the hands and that front leg, which I don't know how it almost looks like it somehow twisted the bottom half of its body when it really has almost no spine, it's just a ball. But it, to me, looks like it has a moustache underneath its mouth and then like a goatee off its chin or something. I really don't like this one in terms of the sprite itself. The only reason it is above XY Sun and Moon is the simple fact that its colours are much nicer when it comes to the shiny and difference, and we can see the different colours. The flower, as we can see across the board, generally stays the same, but it still shows, and then the shadowing from it does stand out in colour difference. After that, we're going to Ruby Sapphire, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, and really, this is a better sprite than the last one, by a long shot. But I still get that same, like, I'm kind of here, but, like, Skiploon has some cute moments and some, like, and feels nice, but it just seemed here like a little bit, like he's almost tied down. And to me, Skiploon is the Pokemon along there which gives the essence of a free spirit, where, you know, Hoppip's the little one, Jumpluff's the stronger one, but Skiploon's kind of that middle free spirit, and I don't feel like it's captured here. After that, we are looking at Golden Crystal. Now, Golden Crystal itself is different, as you can see. We are stepping into an area where the original is darker, but the shiny is dark purple with these, the shadowing is almost like yellow tipped on the ears. Now, we did lose these yellow tips later, and I kind of wish we kept them, to be honest. Now, although they're nothing much, it was just something really cool, and kind of married that flower to the body area. But this dark purple I could really work with. Like, if we got a second variant of a shiny Skiploon, some people might want something really out there, but I would love to see this dark purple done again. From there, we're going up just a little bit in Gen 2 as well is Silver. Now, Silver, as you can see here, we get that stronger ear difference, that little bit more depth on the ears, which I like, but also it just had that, it has that little more emotion in the sprite's position. And to me, sometimes that can be what sells me on a Pokemon itself, regardless of shiny, and that can push something above. It is cute. I think the white eyes here in this generation anyway are simpler and almost doughy-eyed kind of fun, and it was cute. I mean, I always think it's cute, but we're comparing cute to cute, except for Emerald. After that, we're going all the way through to Black and White. Now, this is where we start seeing this free floating spirit kind of feel. Now, it just seemed to hover in XY Sun and Moon, but these ones kind of seem like it's floating there in the air, caught by a draft and everything. Or if you notice, sometimes it seems to spin its flower to create wind. But we are looking at it here, and I like the pink shading down on the belly, up the ears area and everything. It's this nice pink. It doesn't seem washed out, it seems solid, as did the green beside it, and that really helps it work. Next, we're looking at Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and although it's not much difference in my opinion, I think the shading is better. We get a stronger pink which feels, I don't know, happier, if I can explain a color as an emotion, but it does have that feel again of air freedom, and I really like the pink. And finally, onto our best Skiploon, I think we need to look at Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Now, as you can see here, it is a beautiful, beautiful pink, to my opinion. I think compared to the rest, it's almost glowing, if that makes sense, as a pink. And even though the green isn't the darkest green we've got, it's a lovely difference between the two. We've got a bit of shading in the right areas. Could have had a little more in areas, but that's fine. But this pink really, to me, maybe it's because of the lack of overshading, but it just seemed to stand out in the right way. And that to me is why I think this is the best Skiploon shiny. Following Skiploon, we are going back to another Gen 5 Pokemon, this time Tynamol. Now, the reason we're looking at Tynamol today, well, is because someone actually suggested it to me, and that's what you guys can do. But anyway, Tynamol is also not in the newer game, so we are obviously only seeing two, just like Cryogenol. So looking at our worst here, we are looking at XY Sun and Moon. Honestly, this is kind of pixelated and washed, and it makes the differences hard to see. So what I mean is, you can see with this one that the size of the body and its non-black lines really melt into the Pokemon itself. I mean, the shiny is not a big difference naturally, but this is another version of a newer game making a shiny worse, because we can't find the differences, and we I don't know, we just lose it. And you'll see the big difference here moving to our best, which is black and white. We have here much clearer lines, but as you can see on the side of the body, once we get our shiny, those little changes that are there really stand out and give us more of a hint we're looking at a shiny itself. Now again, as I said, not the best difference of a shiny Pokemon, but this was really, really nice and compared to the original. And I really, if I was looking for it, I wouldn't bother if I was keeping it a Tynamol for a shiny in XY Sun and Moon compared to actually looking for it in black and white. And now we're looking at our final Pokemon, another one requested by Charlotte, and she requested a couple both in comments and chat. So Charlotte, please do enjoy. Today we are looking at Clefairy. Now, I'm really keen to look at Clefairy because I actually have a Clefairy myself that I've been trying to get a sweet with lately. But looking at our worst here, Clefairy's worst is actually silver. Now, if you have a look at the body, although a small difference from the body's colour, we are very, very similar. Now, the green tips on the ears also are actually incredibly similar here, but the pinks are so close, it's kind of almost like if you blinked and didn't know Clefairy too well, there's absolutely no way you'd think this is too much of a shiny, and that's disappointing to me. From there, we step up a little bit into Gold itself. Now, Gold is the exact same story, but I think we get a little bit more difference. We get a clearer underfoot green as well, which we don't see much other than more earlier gens. And I don't know, it just seems a little more, I don't know, happier or emotion filled, but the difference is still very similar. And I don't know, it just, the ears are, I think, are a tiny bit better maybe, but they're very close, the first two, and it's a little bit different, disappointing that the difference is so similar in just the main body, thus allowing it to really seem too close. Here we go all the way through to Sword and Shield after this, which is actually our only Sword and Shield entry today. And the reason I say this is, again, we've gone from the other end of a dark pink to this really light washed pink. And I just wish they'd stop making originals and shinies become closer in colour. And these two, although the green ears definitely stand out here, the rest of it, like if you cover the ears and put them side by side, you can tell the shinies are shiny. But just. And that is upsetting. We move from there back to XY Sun and Moon. Now, the only reason I think this one beats it, the little pixelation and looks are a little bit worse, but I find that the shiny itself is actually a little brighter, and that pulls it a tiny bit away from the original, making it stand out, and that is, I guess, just a small step up, because really it's still very similar. I also find for some reason the ears in this one do have, like compared to Sword and Shield, a little bit stronger of a difference dragging you away, but they're nothing great overall. From here we go back to Gen 2 again, and we're looking at Crystal. Now the reason we have left Crystal itself till later than the other two Gen 2 is, if you can see here, the original Crystal actually now has that darker tone to it that it didn't with the first two games in this generation. And this allows it to stand apart. Now although the ears itself don't stand out like other green ears do, it's still, that body is a massive difference, and once you've seen a couple of Clefairies in Crystal, you will definitely be able to tell the difference. Following on from Crystal, we are looking at Diamond and Pearl. From now on as well, as you can see here, the originals are that nice darker pink. It's not too bright and not too washed, and really helps. It's almost as if the brown ears have a little bit of an influence on the pink, and that is helping it stand out. So our Diamond and Pearl here, this is nice. Now, I do like the difference. The ears really shine, but I feel the sprite's a bit little, yeah, you know, and with the big difference, let me tell you, from the original to the shiny from now on, and that nice ear color, the rest of these are all much higher tier than what was seen prior. So if I'm going to be probably more picking on the sprites more than the shiny difference, most cases. After that, we are looking at Black and White. Now, Black and White is another cute sprite. I still feel it's a little close in color with these newer ones, but we still have that nice difference. We have that really strong ears, and it looks just a little more fun than the last sprite, in my opinion. And that's the only difference that pushes it up. But really, we're still seeing that nice quality of a Clefairy shiny. Following that, we are on to Platinum. Now, Platinum is really cool in this one, I think. Now, as much as it's more open body and showing it, it's cool and fun, and that's what I like. It's still kind of emotionless in the face, and I wish it had more face, but I just feel like out of the sitting sprites, this is probably the best one. And, yeah, you know, it's fun. Also, as a final point, this is actually the only Clefairy that gets the green lips, which is really, really cool compared to the rest. Now, I still think the sprite itself is sitting meh. It's just, I don't know, I don't love it. But the green lips is a really cool point to take note of. Following Platinum, we have Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Now, this again is a very similar sprite to the one before. We're just now standing up instead, our arms a little bit more, but that face has that little bit more emotion. Now, in my opinion, the ears may not stand out quite as much as the last one. And when I say quite as much, I mean tiny margin. But we are definitely getting that clear difference between the two. That nice light shiny compared to the dark pink, and that kind of more emotion on the face. We go then to Fire Red Leaf Green, which I think is another really cute one. It's just kind of, I don't know, the face now has more emotion, and that is definitely showing us a difference. Now, the shiny, we can see the ears, we get this beautiful color palette with the lighting on the shiny. It actually makes me rather the shiny because we get that really bright pink, which feels fairy-like, being that we're a normal type right through to X and Y. It really gives me that feel, you know? Finally, we're on to our second best, which is Ruby and Sapphire, and this is cool and cute, you know? Like, it's nice. It's got this, you know, kind of wiggle your finger metronome look, this fun face, that ear difference. Sometimes the under ear shots aren't the most standing out, but it still does stand out, and it's got that beautiful pink. I love this, and we get to see that tail here as well, which we have seen in others, but here it definitely does show and give it the general shape of Clefairy. Don't get lost in the idea that there is no back of the sprite. And finally, on to our best is Emerald. And what can I say but, oh my god, how cute is this sprite? The differences are awesome between the colours, that beautiful bright pink with the green ears, that fun starry fairy feel, but beyond any of that, this sprite absolutely destroys the rest when it comes down to cuteness, and it just, I don't know if I want to pick it up, hug it, or what, But if I ever have to pick a generation where I want a Clefairy, I want it in Emerald. And to be honest, I just want to go play Emerald now to find it. I never realized how goddamn freaking cute this Clefairy is. But anyway, guys, that ends our shinies for today. As I said earlier, if you have anything to say, use the comment section. Let's start a discussion or suggest what you want to see. I have a list of Pokemon I'm trying to get through, but I'm trying to balance them as well. So I'm not doing, 4 or 5 Gen 1 Pokemon and then another video where I'm doing 3 or 4 like Gen 5 and Gen 4 Pokemon. Like we're trying to mix it up, and weeks will be different, but it always helps to have suggestions so I can make a note and try and get to them. Also, guys, if you like this content or like to see what else I'm doing, you can either check out my channel by clicking below or sub if you would like to, and that always helps out. And finally, guys, I do always appreciate a like on these videos, as these take me a lot of time to put together, some faster than others, but it does take a lot to make it to a standard of which I'm happy with. So, as I said, always appreciated. But anyway, guys, until my next video, I'll see ya.